All right, what's going on, everybody? Hopefully, you guys can hear me loud and clear. I am doing a different setup today because I'm going to be sitting down and mapping out a live streaming slash whole tech setup for a day trading studio. So, it's a project I've been working on for a couple months. A client of mine, buddy of mine, has gotten some space to build out a day trading center, and I am helping with putting together the tech plan. So here's kind of a screenshot of what I'm going to be going through tonight, and then also walking through the actual tech to pull this off. So that is the stream tonight on Amazon Live and on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, make sure that you hit the like button for the video so more people can see that I spontaneously went live tonight. And then on Amazon Live, if you guys want to see, or that's where you can see the actual equipment. Not everything, because we actually have to have the equipment for Amazon Live, but I'm going to talk about it. Some equipment that I have here, and but at the end of the day, I think you guys should be able to get a lot of value if you're into live streaming and kind of need help with your setup, because I'm going to be talking through scenarios and just how I think about these types of setups, because you got to think about cabling, you got to think about distance, you got to think about audio, video, all that good stuff. So I'm going to be working. This is kind of my, again, working setup as I go through this. So hopefully it may be boring for some people, but my tech geeks, you might find it interesting to listen to it in the background a little bit. And if you guys have questions, though, as it relates to your personal setups or suggestions that you might have as I'm going through this, or questions, definitely feel free to ask those in the chat. I have my have all the chat over here. So I got YouTube on my center console, or my center part of my screen, and then I have Amazon Live over there on the far right, and then I have my document here, my Lucidchart document that I'm going to be editing, because we actually started this process, like I said a little while ago, but the setup has changed a little bit, so I need to modify what we have here. So my working evening session, so you guys can kind of hang out with me. Good to see you. Up his Eri, Nolan on YouTube. Oh, Alari. I hope I said it right. I'm sorry, guys. I'm bad with names. Thank you guys for being here. And then on Amazon Live, I see my dude Rome's over here, Jarhead's over there, and Teresa is over there. So awesome. Good to see you guys here. So let me get to work, okay? Because this is like a legit working, but I want to talk through a lot of this. Like I said, it might be boring to some non-techie people, but I'm working. I'm on duty, right? All right. So this is kind of my document here that I initially started working on. And what we got going on here is a trading studio where people are going to be able to come in and actually day trade and learn how to day trade. And so we need to set up the entire space. It's a commercial space, and all the tech gear that goes along with it. So in the Amazon Live carousel, I have some of the products that we've had already talked about. They're actually sitting here on my desk, and I'm going to be using a lot of these types of devices of companies that I've worked with that have sponsored my YouTube channel or sponsored Amazon Live. So because their equipment is actually like really good, we're going to continue using them for this entire setup. And so we have one is going to be a BZB Gear switcher. Let me grab that again. And I've talked about this BZB Gear switcher before. It's a 4.4 port HDMI switcher, so you can bring in 4 HDMI cameras or HDMI devices, really, because you could actually bring in iPad or your computer screen, anything that's HDMI, you can bring that into here. And then also we're going to need cameras in this setup too, and so we've already reached out to our friends over at BZB Gear before, and so these are cameras that we're going to use. These are PTZ cameras specifically that we do want to use for that setup, because we're going to be looking at the crowd for different shots. So we want to be able to have the cameras pan, tilt, and zoom to zoom in and look at the crowd and also look at the stage for the person that's on the stage presenting. So we kind of know what company we want to go with for the most part, but a lot of these pieces of equipment are interchangeable. So if there's certain brands and manufacturers that have the same thing, same concept will apply to the setup. But we kind of have a good idea of the brand specific we want to go with, and I'm a fan of going with the same brand for your setups if you can, as much as possible, because it allows you to have just better sync across everything you're using. So it's not, constantly trying to fight to connect with this thing and it's not compatible with this other thing. But if you have the same brand, it just typically works a lot smoother. Awesome. Yeah, life is good over here. So you guys are good too. All right, cool. So let me get into the boring part of this. So, my initial setup here, we're doing a lot of networking and a lot of cameras. So if I kind of start high level at the top, I have a laptop that's sitting up here. This is going to be the presenter, and they have a podium. They're going to be using a laptop. There's going to be a video wall, which is pretty cool. So if you guys have seen those big walls where you have an image on it, we're actually going to have a video wall. You can split it up into different panels and everything like that. So that's a video wall card that's up here. And then we also had a matrix switcher, which was going to bring in a lot of different computers. So basically people were going to have these different trading stations. As you can see down to the bottom right, have these 6 laptops set up. It was actually going to be between 6 and 8, and people could come and day trade at this setup, and all of these computers were going to be routed into a mixer, a splitter. But we're actually not going to do all of this because we actually found another solution that works a little bit better. So we get to save a whole bunch of money and not use this matrix splitter. I got a cable that's over there falling, scaring me over there. Okay. All right, so I'm going to delete this matrix splitter because we're actually going to have something else set up for this. So I can get rid of all of these computers. Now, I'm going to add, well, I do have it in the carousel, the computer that I use when I do, because I day trade the markets a little bit. Haven't done it as much here recently, but I use my Acer, which should be coming into frame back there in a little bit. So I'll have a Acer Helios 300 laptop that's sitting right behind me. I mainly day trade the markets off of, I just prefer it on a PC just because the softwares are built better for the PC. But I typically use that there. And then I haven't really used my big monitor as much as I thought I would, just because I always got other stuff open. I need more space because I want a separate trading station space, but I do have highlighted my Acer laptop just because it's more of a powerful machine, and I upgraded the RAM and stuff like that. So when you day trade, especially if you're looking for quick scalping trades, you definitely want something that's fast. So I use the gaming laptop to do that. BZB switcher looks cool, and it's actually pretty good compared to the ATEM. I love both switchers. I think they both are really comparable in what they do. ATEM kind of has that brand recognition where people have known about it for a while because Blackmagic just makes a lot of awesome devices. But the one thing that I like, there's a couple things that I like about the BZ Gear specifically, is that it has the HDMI, 2 HDMI outs, one for your multi-view and then one for your program. So we have 4 HDMI inputs and then one for program and one for preview. Now the reason that's important, like on a switcher, is because I want to be able to see my preview. And that's something that we're probably going to set up in this setup too, because in this day trading studio, because the person that's going to be controlling it will probably be the presenter as well. So we got to make it super simple so they know what they're what they're switching between. And at this price point, the ATEM Mini Pro is right around the same price point. It doesn't have a preview and a program out. It only has one. So that's one of the main reasons that I actually went with the ATEM Mini Extreme, because the Extreme model has has two outputs, preview right here and a program right here. So I'm using both of my outputs, but in order to get that on the Blackmagic ATEM, you have to get the Extreme version, which costs about twice as much as the Pro version. So for them to have it in the BZB, to have it in their 4-port switcher is one of like the main features that's something to consider at that price point. And then also the BZB switcher has a lot of software that you don't have to log into, or a lot of controls rather you don't have to log into. Literally, you just go and type the menu function and you can change a lot of the settings inside of the menu and see it on the screen. Whereas the ATEM, you have to bring up the software, you have to install the software on your computer. Like literally, I have to bring it up on my desktop. So I'll bring it up here now. So I have to bring this software up on my desktop, and then I can control stuff here, which is pretty cool though, because like I can click camera 2 and it'll take me to camera 2. I'll click camera 3 and it'll bring me back here, and I can go in all the settings and change stuff in here. Has the ISO recording, all that good stuff in here. But those are the two main differences for me and my use case and my workflow between the BZB gear and then the ATEM. All right, so let me bring back up my diagram here. So we took out our matrix, and I actually had this mapped to how we were going directionally as well. So we don't need this. I'm basically gotta clean up this real quick here. All these lines aren't gonna go to the matrix. So I gotta think some of this back out again. And let's go HDMI, laptop, 6 computer switcher. All right, so what I have on here is essentially 3 cameras. So let's copy and paste that. All right. Oh, you know what? I didn't even need to copy and paste that. I could have just used the existing text that I have right there. All right, so this is PTZ camera, and this top PTZ camera is going to face the crowd. So the top of this diagram is the front of the room. So BZB gear, PTZ camera. And I'm going to copy that text to the other ones. And I just saw that the BZB gear newsletter they sent out today, matter of fact, has the 4K camera. So a PTZ camera that's 4K. So interesting. Can't wait to see that. In the meantime, we're going to be using these 20x 1080p cameras, and I'll talk about these and why I like these two for this specific setup. What's going on, NJ? Good to see you. Good to see you working live. This is a video that does not need to be edited. Let me switch over here to my other view here. All right. What's going on, Jim? Just running through, checking out the streams. Hey, this is the boring stream, Jim. I'm over here like legit working with diagrams and stuff and walking through this setup for a tech studio I got to put together. All right, so let me clean up I even got my iced coffee right beside me that I've been working on today too. All right, so we're going to jump back over here into. All right. So what I am going to do is keep my controller down here because the three PTZ cameras we are going to use. We're going to have essentially a controller because the controller is going to. The controller is not so much going to be used like all the time. So I got one highlighted in the carousel that was sent over that I still have to do like a good review on. But we're going to use one of these PTZ controls. We may use this one. I don't know. I don't really have a real need for it here. But the controller is going to allow anyone that has access to the controller to pan, tilt, and zoom all three of those PTZ cameras and change some functionality. So we have to daisy chain these cameras together, which is another cable that I need to make sure that I get added on here. So I think I'm about to delete all these lines for now so I don't confuse myself because the setup changed significantly. I'm going to kind of delete these because I don't want to confuse myself. Brian says it was 2 videos today. Yeah, I know, right? The first one was like, I didn't know if I was going to put it on YouTube because it's not really a YouTube video, but it's just kind of more of what I'm working on for brand deals and sponsorships and that community I'm building over there. So I wanted to share that with my YouTube audience. And then this wasn't going to be for here either, but I had to get the work done. So I was like, I'm going to be talking about a lot of equipment. So maybe I'll just go ahead and just go live and kind of walk through this and talk it out in my head too. Question on YouTube: do you have any test footage for those BZB PTZ cameras? I don't know if that. No, okay. One video is not edited yet. I don't know if I. Well, yeah, I do. I have test footage on it, but it's not a dedicated video. It's actually been part of the live stream here where I've done a behind. It's been over the shoulder shot. So I don't have test footage, but there is footage of it. Now the lighting here in this space isn't the lighting here isn't the best for PTZ cameras because overall they're not the best in low light. Like I wouldn't suggest getting a PTZ camera that you're always going to be using in low light because you need to make sure your lighting is proper. So when you do see it here, I don't have light pointed in this direction to help the camera. So basically, this is one camera here. My other, the BZB gear typically sits, well, you can see it here because I'm sitting down today, but the BZB gear typically sits right there. But because there's no light shining this way, it doesn't have the clearest quality, but it's really good in natural daytime light. So there is footage here there's footage on my Amazon channel. So for my YouTube people, I'll put in the link to my Amazon Live. And if you watch me on Amazon Live, then some of the older videos, when I switch to it, you'll definitely be able to tell the difference. Let's see here. Rome says, how big is the space? I don't remember the dimensions off the top of my head. I have to pull it back up. 30, 40, 30 by 60 feet, something like that. It's not an overly big space. It's not overly big. Like the cameras that I'm using they're going to be 20x cameras, but we really could get away with like 10x because it's not going to be a significant distance. All right, so back to my chart here. So we got BZB camera, PTZ camera, 1 up at the top, 2 at the bottom, and 3 at the bottom. So 2 of these are going to be facing the stage from 2 different angles, and then 1 is going to face the crowd. So we got those 3. Now these are going to be run over to, this whole setup's is kind of changing. For now, I'm going to move this up here just for my own sanity. but these are going to be run to an ATEM, or not an ATEM, take that out, the BZB switcher. So I'm not going to spend time trying to find another image for right now while we're live, but the top right is going to be a BZB gear video. I'm going to do a 4-port video switcher. Now we have 3 cameras running. Now if we have to go bigger, we might look at the ATEM Extreme, because we're going to be using 3 ports. The 4th port will probably be used for the laptop. And then right beside it, we have our PTZ controller, because if somebody is going to be doing like the video production, we want all this stuff together. So this is the PTZ camera controller. And like I said, on Amazon, I got the one here that I need to do a review. So I have to get the video recorded. I got B-roll recorded. I need to record the actual video of me testing it all out. All right, so this is the, I can't say their name, his silly, I don't know how to say the name of it. But this is the PTZ controller that I'm going to be testing out here. Now, I've used a lot of controllers very, very, very similar to this one, so I expect the functionality to be pretty much the same. So on here we have 7 camera buttons essentially right across the top right here, so we can easily switch between 7 cameras real time. Now I've used similar controllers here where it just shows you a few cameras, like up to 7 here, but you can actually control 256 cameras. You also have the ability on here to change the white balance, the auto exposure. So going back to the question, or going back when I was talking about the lighting, you can actually adjust the lighting of the cameras on the controller, which is pretty nice. Otherwise you have to like put your remote at the controller, and that can be a pain in the butt sometimes. So auto exposure, brightness, up and down. It has a zoom button on here, so zoom in tight, zoom out. I prefer to use the zoom on the joystick. You just twist it to the left, twist it to the right, and then to pan, tilt, and zoom the camera, it's just up, down, left, right. Pretty self-explanatory there. Then you also have some more exposure buttons, backlight. You can do some more stuff with the cameras essentially. What I really like is the fact that you can set up presets on the controllers. So let's say that you want to have the controller or the camera looking in one direction. You can actually do a preset and have the camera or have the controller remember where the camera is looking. And then if you want it to look in a different direction, you can set up another preset. So you can basically call presets in the camera, because it's a pan, tilt, and zoom. It'll just go to where you called the preset, which is one of the reasons I like these types of cameras, especially for live streaming events and conferences and all that stuff, because you can have one camera that can go and look around the whole room and from pretty much any angle. And one of the easiest ways to control it is with a controller. Now they do come with remotes, and you have the ability to pan, tilt, and zoom the remotes, but the remotes are kind of, it's kind of like backup. That's the way I use the remotes. And then you can also put these on your network too, which is what we're going to do for this setup. We're going to put this on the network and run one network cable and actually control the cameras over the network. So that'll allow us to run less cables. I'm not sure if this is PoE. I think I got to look at it, but power over Ethernet. So you only need one cable, your internet or your Ethernet cable. You don't need a separate power cable. So I got to double check if this is PoE, because the cameras are PoE. So one less cable, and I posted on my Facebook underneath my desk all the cables. So one less cable for this setup, using this type of controller because it's PoE. And then on the diagram, I have a PoE switch too. So we'll be looking at this, testing this out a little bit more in depth, and I will have a video on that soon. I use soon as a relative term though too. What would the cost camera control? What would the camera module cost? So that one is $529. I also have a Huddle Cam controller, and I think that's $299. I don't have that one with me. That one's with Chris. But yeah, anywhere from $299. And then I had my SuperJoy controller, but the actual control part broke when I was traveling for an event, and the control part broke, and that was around $899. So they definitely range in price. All right, so I think I got all my questions on YouTube, and if you guys have questions on Amazon, go ahead and ask me over there as well. All right, so let's jump back into our chart, or our diagram rather. And so we got our PTZ controller in the top right. We got our 4-port switcher in the top right. Let's get rid of these lines here for now. Okay. We've got our video card up here. So like I said, we're gonna have a video wall up here, and this is just a card. And now that I'm talking through this, I might need that 8-port switcher back because we got rid of the matrix switcher up there. All right. Okay, let's go here. And I've got to think through the ORI again. Now on the right, or on the left hand side, we have the PoE switch. Now I have a mini PoE switch. Let me see if I have it close by. I uninstalled it because I changed my desk that was over there, and I threw it in one of these boxes over here, and I don't know which box I threw it in. But the PoE switch is basically power over Ethernet. So what it's going to allow us to do is power on these devices, power on the cameras, power on the controller, and we'll do it with one cable. So the one I have here is a Netgear. And basically, I got one line. It's going to go to the camera. And we'll do another line. Where's my line tool? Where's my line tool? Copy. All right. Where's my other line tool? I don't want the word, I just need the line. Okay, so we're gonna have another one come down here to camera 2, and then I'm gonna move this up for now, and then we'll have another line. Oops, of course it would do that. Edit, undo, edit, undo. Copy, paste. Alright, okay. So we'll have another one here. And then this one is going to run over here to that camera. Okay, so there we go. Just trying to clean this up a little bit. Trying to keep this diagram as clean as possible so I don't have to do this again. Like I said, for my people that just jumped on, this is like a legit working session. All right. Okay. All right. So we got that going on there. For our 3 cameras, and then all 3 of these are going to go into the switcher. So copy, delete. Gee, where's my other line tool at? No, I got another one. Okay, see if that one works for me. Okay, all right, there we go. That's what I want. Camera 2, and then camera 3. Okay. All right, so we got that done. And then our controller, we're going PoE. So I need to run one cable from, the reason the PoE switches on this side of the diagram is because the storage closet area is on this side of the office space. So I've got to run some cables here. So PoE going over to the controller to power on the controller, and then we're going to run PoEs to the cameras. Okay. All right, so that's good. We don't need now, well, I know we're going to get a PoE controller, but as long as that's PoE controller, we can save a cable run. Let's see here. What I got going on? All right. So let's look at this. Now, we can power the camera on by network cable. Let me switch to it in the carousel too. We can power this on with the network cable, but we're also going to actually need to like physically connect to it. And so I've been using a lot of fiber HDMI cables, which have been really good because we need to get the display out of the camera so we can control it using power over Ethernet, because the controller is going to be powered in with the Ethernet cable on our network, and the camera is going to be plugged in on our network. So we got power and we can control it, but we also need to visibly see it in our switcher. So we do need to run a cable for it to see it in our switcher. Now on this specific camera, you have a lot of different options for connecting. You have SDI, which is typically, SDI, which is typically for your longer runs. So we would have to go SDI and convert it to HDMI because let me bring it over here, because this is HDMI, right? So if we go SDI, we got to convert it back. But I've been really using a lot more of the fiber HDMI cables, which have been pretty sturdy. I've used those for some church ministry setups. So I'm going to go with fiber HDMI just because I don't have to get any adapters and converters and deal with any of that stuff, and run fiber HDMI out of the HDMI port here and run it directly into our switcher. Okay. Now you can use this camera a multitude of ways. You also have, it comes with everything. You also have a USB 3.0 port. So I could actually use the USB 3.0 port like here and bypass having a video switcher. And the reason that's pretty cool is because maybe you just don't need a video switcher. Maybe you want to use this camera as your one camera. You can just plug in directly USB into your computer, so into your laptop, one cable USB. If you use the HDMI connection, then you're going to need a capture card. Okay, and in this case, our capture card is our switcher, but there are also little capture cards. You can get the Elgato Cam Links on the door over there. I have it, so I'm just not going to get up and go get it, but I will go ahead and add it to the carousel on Amazon if anybody needs that. So let me add that now. So Elgato Cam Link. Okay. And Add that. All right, so the Elgato Cam Link's highlighted in the carousel, and that's how I initially connected initially connected my mirrorless camera into my computer, because it's HDMI. So you can't connect the HDMI into an HDMI on your computer. It just doesn't work. So you need to convert it over. And little capture card makes you bring in high-end cameras into your production. So this camera is coming in through this, but this is because we have multiple cameras. But if you just had one camera, then you could use the Elgato Cam Link and it'll convert it over to USB and bring it right into your production. Okay, so we are going to be using fiber HDMI for that run. So it's 3 runs. And I'm gonna make a note up here because I don't want to draw it out. All right, so let's see. Copy, paste, copy, paste. So we go fiber, HDMI cable, PTZ cam to switcher. Okay, so I got that set up. Oh, y'all can't see me on that view. Oops. Switch. Okay. All right, so just added a little note for myself up there. Melvin, if I didn't say thank you for the follow, appreciate you for following me here on Amazon. All right. Now, so we got our camera set up. We got our network switch. It's going to be in the closet. It's going to power everything. Going to be Wi-Fi in the room in this space. Now, what we do have coming in, which I found out today, are 20 seats. So, I don't have a little icon for chairs over here, I don't think. So, but there are going to be 20 chairs in here. So that's the reason that we got rid of that 6 computer desk setup, is because they're going to focus a lot on the events, the live events where people can come, set up your laptops, sit in the chairs, learn, conference, that type of thing. Gee, I don't think I have a chair in the shapes thing because this is a networking. Okay, let's see. I have the free version of Lucidchart, so I don't know if it'll make me pay for it. Okay, cool. All right, so boom. Got a chair. Yes. All right, so we got 20 chairs coming now. So that's just 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, I don't know if if it's 4 rows or going to be 2 rows. I'm not sure. Let's see if it'll let me copy this. Copy, paste. Cool. All right. So we got 20 chairs. And let's make these chairs a little bit bigger. Kind of more realistic on what this is going to look like. Okay. So we got 20 seats. And then also what we're going to have towards the back and towards the entrance is a monitor, confidence monitor. I'm about to delete these lines real quick so I can. Okay. So let me add another line back. And if you guys have questions about your particular live stream setup, definitely feel free to ask it in the chat here. All right. So we got our 20 chairs. I moved my PTZ camera over, so we got a good shot from both sides. Got the confidence monitor in the back of the room, and I'll explain this Ori splitter in a minute because I got to think through it. Internet. Okay, let me double check, see if you guys have anything over here in the chat. Nothing in the chat. Cool. All right, now we're gonna this TV in the back is gonna be like a 32-inch TV. And because I got to think through this, we're going to control the preview out. in that monitor. So there might actually be two TVs back here after our discussion today. So one will be specifically for trading. Okay, so this will be our trading screen. And then this will be our confidence monitor, and this is going to be essentially be our BZB multi-view. Okay, that'll be the BZB multi-view. So that means we're gonna have to run that cable here to the multi-view. So let me go up and out that way. And then I do want to show this laptop screen on camera. So we're gonna draw a line from here. So this will be my fourth input then. So I'm kind of maxed out on my inputs there, because I do want to display that. So let's copy, make me a note. Number 4 input in switcher to show live stream audience. Okay. Now another way I could do this essentially is bring the screen out of, well, maybe I'll do it that way, because I can dongle to the trading screen. Maybe I'll do it that way. I can come out of my computer screen into, yeah, I think I like that way a little bit better. Yeah. I can come out of my computer screen here and into my live stream setup, or into the live stream setup essentially. So trading screen in the back, I'm going to come HDMI out of that into the ATEM, into the 4th slot. So if he's showing something on screen and he wants the live stream audience to see it, you just hit camera 4 and it's going to display whatever is showing on the trading screen. Now there's this other system. I got to do a little bit of homework on it, because you can basically wirelessly connect to any TV. So that'll be easy for the laptop, because the laptop's going to be mobile. It's not going to be stationary. So we need people to see the laptop, but laptop screen, but we can just do dual screen. So that's a pretty easy move there. What's going on, Jason? Good to see you, man. Building out a day trading studio. Buddy got a studio that we're setting up the network environment for, and the tech behind it. And okay, the video wall there. Let's see what else. One of the notes that I think I have to go here. Let me add the cables for you guys too. So as I'm kind of thinking through this, so like I said, I'm gonna use HDMI fiber cables. I actually have them running here too, like over my shoulder, like on the floor down there. There are some cables that are running all the way around that I just haven't cleaned up because I keep moving stuff around in here. But they're really good. I've used up to 200 foot or the 300 foot. But I just really like them because you don't have to deal with converters on these long cable runs, and they're reliable. So that's the main thing. So on Amazon Live, I just added it in the product carousel if you guys want to see the brand manufacturer, the ones that I use. But it's going around here, and then it's actually once connected up there, and then the other one is connected to my camera that's on the slider right now. So that's how I'm running. That's how I'm running HDMI, or that's how I'm running my cameras into the switcher. So all my cameras are HDMI. There's a physical connection, HDMI coming into the back of here. So because it's got to go all the way around the room, I need a longer cable, right? So typically your HDMI cables, after like 20-25 feet, they kind of lose signal, and quality will start to deteriorate the longer you go. But the fiber HDMIs are built for long distances. So I have two 50-footers in here to go around, one over my shoulder to where the BZB gear typically sits up there, and then that other one is wrapped even further around to the other side of the room to bring in the slider camera right there. So that's what we'll be using for this too. Let's see here. Thinking. I feel like I'm missing something for the setup, but that's the main part of the setup. I do have that Ori switcher sitting in here, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna need it, because the other system, what we were gonna do was bring in a whole bunch of the day trading workstations and swap between the day trading workstations. So essentially, if the instructor, or essentially if the student had a question about what was going on, they could show their screen. And what this Ori switcher right in the middle, this was going to allow us to bring in a few of those setups, so that the instructor could just flip the button and it would show on the day trading screen. So that was essentially what we were going to do initially. But because we're not bringing in those extra workstations in the way we originally thought, I'm not sure if we even need this. We may need it for the wall projector. I want to keep it up here just in case. And I want to put it right up here for the wall projector. Okay. All right. So let me see. I think that's the main setup. There's some other cable there. I mean, we got audio that I'm also doing too. So there'll be speakers hanging in here. There's actually going to be an audio mixer in here too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a picture of the Rodecaster Pro, just because it's a great device. I still haven't got one for myself yet. I haven't justified it yet. So let me save it, and I'm not going to pay for that premium feature. Okay, because I guess I added too many features in here. Let's see. All right, so I guess I won't add it in here. I'm going to make a note of it, though, then. You're trying to upgrade. Oh, man, I can't add nothing else in here. All right, so let's see. I'm going to get rid of that. And then I'm going to put audio mixer. Okay, let me see if it'll let me add it now. Thought I deleted something. Okay, cool. There we go. Oops, cancel. Okay. Okay. All right, so we're running audio in here because the audio are going to be mic'd up, obviously, for the live streaming. Rodecaster Pro. And then the audio is also going to feed into the ATEM. That way the audio can be in sync and we don't have to worry about lag. Because with live streaming, you got to, like the way I'm coming in tonight, I got to adjust the audio. So there may be like some out of sync because I got to adjust the audio on the delay. So I'm trying to prevent that because I'm not running my microphone right now. I'm running it a little bit differently. So because I'm using this interface, I'm going in USB into my computer, and I'm going video out of the switcher. So I'm going out two different places, and they're basically connecting. But if I wanted to go this microphone into here, I could do that, but I need another interface to do that. Then the audio would be in sync. So what I want to do is, because this is not going to be for like a full-on techie person, I don't want them making adjustments. It just needs to work. When they turn it on, it just needs to work. So we need to invest in equipment to just make it work. So that's why I'm going to add the Rodecaster to the setup, so that they can just hit the on button and just go for it. So we got Rodecaster Pro is going to bring audio. So there's obviously going to be speakers. Audio speakers in the room so people in the room can hear as well. And I think that is my setup for what we got going on. Yeah, cable runs. So I'm going to make a note if I need to make a note. No, I don't want another line. I just want to be able to make notes over here. So we have HDMI cables, HDMI fiber cables for PTZ cameras, and network cabling for PoE devices. We've got HDMI cables for monitors and audio cables for speakers, audio cables for Rodecaster to BZB gear. Where did I put the switcher? Save some space here. All right. So those are my notes, my additional notes just for myself, so I don't forget what's going on here. All right. Does anybody have any questions that I can answer? Maybe it's about, like I said, maybe it's about your own setup that you need some assistance with, or questions in general when it comes to live streaming or equipment. Let me know. Go ahead and put those in before we sign off and log off. Good to see all you guys here. Thank you guys for hitting the like button on the video on on YouTube. And then if those of you watching on Amazon Live, thank you guys for following over there on Amazon Live. Products on Amazon Live that I've talked about are in the carousel, so you can click around and check out the stuff that I have here sitting on the desk and some of the other stuff that we're going to be using. I also have in the Amazon carousel the Stream Deck, which sits on my desk, which is something that we talked about as well for this particular setup. So I've got to figure out how to make it work the way I want it to work in my mind. Space wise as well, because we don't want to overwhelm that setup for the studio with a whole bunch of equipment. We want it to keep a nice, clean, seamless look, but that Stream Deck with all the hotkeys will allow us to kind of do some custom configurations as well, and makes things a little bit easier when switching, especially when it comes to live streaming. You can set up hotkeys and all that good stuff, and set up hotkeys, lighting, all kind of stuff with the Stream Deck. So we do want to have that in the environment, but we definitely want it to be more discreet. So we got to talk through that for that particular setup. But I think that's all the equipment, like the major big equipment that we're going to use for this one. But thank you guys for hanging out with me during my work time here. I think I got everything I need note-wise before I meet with the client tomorrow. Kind of just go over some final details, use cases. You always kind of want to think about use cases too, like different potential things that you may want to do. You kind of want to just think through that, so that you have the setup there to do it. Because last thing you want to do is build out something and then realize, oh, I want to do this, but I can't do it because I didn't think through it long enough. So we're kind of making sure that we go through all kinds of scenarios in our heads before we do the final hookups and installs. Nolan says, haven't used the cameras yet. Are they plug and go, or do you have to have a driver? Nolan, which cameras are you talking about specifically? Because none of the cameras that I use require drivers. So which camera are you talking about? But none of them I use have drivers. Nothing has to be installed on a computer. They're all plug and play. Preferably I'll go HDMI and they'll just plug right up and then they'll show right up as well. Now the A6400, you do have to have a micro HDMI, but no drivers for the computer. Now, even the setup on the PTZ cameras, like I'll go through and change some of the settings, but I just use the remote. Have the PTZ gear. I'm thinking PTZ Optics. I have PTZ Optics cameras sitting right there too, right where my finger is. But even you just plug these straight up. Basic video cameras, no drivers. I've used plenty of camcorders that don't have drivers. You don't need any drivers for. Now, the only drivers that I've had have been or needed anything for were webcams. So if you have a webcam, you may need to install drivers for that. But I haven't had that install any drivers for anything. So I hope that helps you out. Let's see here. I want to check something. I didn't realize, like, let's see. Okay. I was looking at my YouTube and it's only letting me look at my resolution at 360p. So I'm like, I thought I was sending 1080p to YouTube. So hopefully the video on YouTube is 1080p, but it won't let me check it. Well, I guess I can kind of cheat and copy and pull it up on another browser real quick. Let's see. I just want to see for my own sanity. YouTube has been kind of messing with me when I do my live streams. Okay, so it does show 1080p there. Okay. Not sure why it's doing that. All right. Any other questions on YouTube or Amazon Live? I don't see anything. Okay, awesome. I see people clicking on the Stream Deck. The Stream Deck is a great tool, you guys. If you don't have one, it's a great tool. So I'm going to reset this up for Wirecast here soon. Video looks great. Okay, thanks, Nolan. Appreciate that. All right, you all. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for hanging out with me here on Amazon Live. I'll be back. What is today? I'll probably be on Amazon Live before the end of the week is out. But on Mondays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is my consistent time when I go live. So we'll be on. I got a special guest on Monday, so make sure that you guys mark your calendar for it. And you can also watch the replay as well. So if you just go to the YouTube channel, you can watch the replay there. You can also watch the replay on Amazon Live. So always been more recently doing like a hot seat, what kind of tech gear the guests have. So if you actually want to see the gear, I link to all of that on Amazon. You can actually like see it in the carousel. Click it if it's something that's of interest to you. But that's what we got going on here. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll see you on the next live stream.